in Fayette County back in April 14th, 1843. If y'all have noticed, if you cared to look, I got a headstone right over there. It's real nice and pretty, but I'm not buried there. You'll learn about that pretty quick. I came from a well-to-do family, you could say. My father, Charles Wheatley, he was a printer. He was known around here quite well for his profession. Sometimes I'd go down there, I'd help him out with the print press. And on the days I wouldn't, I'd stay home with my mother Nancy. She was a good woman and a good mother. In my childhood, I don't remember much, other than being more privileged than some of the other folks around here. I had 5 brothers and 3 sisters. All but one of them died before they even reached the age of 15, if they were lucky. About the age of 18, I volunteered myself. I was in the Edward M. Hobbs Kentucky Volunteer Cavalry, Company A, Regiment 6. I worked as a printer during that time, thanks to my father. And right before Christmas of 1861, I was mustered into federal service at Camp Irvine, Louisville. Federal service seemed to have a special taking to me. Seemed to fit me quite well. So by June of 1862, they made me a corporal. And a full year later, on 1863, I was promoted to sergeant. Sergeant Lucian Wheaton. That was right before it got kind of sour. September of that year, we were fighting in the Chickamauga campaign. And I was captured, along with my men. They held me in Richmond, Virginia. Then they moved me on to Danville. It was a short stint. It was nothing compared to Andersonville, Georgia, where they took us all. If hell on earth could be put into words, it'd be Andersonville. It was... Well, I have a note here. One of my men left me before I came home. I'd like to share with you all. It describes the conditions pretty well, what it was like in Andersonville at the time. As we entered the place, a spectacle met our eyes and almost froze our blood with horror. It made our hearts fall within us. Before us were forms that had once been active and erect, stalwart men, now nothing but mere walking skeletons, covered with filth and vermin. Many of our men, in the heat and intensity of their feeling, exclaimed with earnestness, "Can this be hell? God protect us." And all thought that He alone could bring out alive from so terrible a place. The center of the whole was a swamp, occupying about 3 or 4 acres of the narrow limits, and a part of this marshy place had been used by the prisoners as a sink. An excrement covered the ground, the scent arising from which was suffocating. The ground allotted to our 90 was near the edge of this plagued spot. And whether, in the midst of such fearful surroundings, we didn't care much to think of that. I was there for over a year, all of 1864. We didn't get much food, and what food we did get wasn't really fit for dogs or livestock, you could say. We were thinking the Confederacy was trying to weather us, emaciate us, make us unfit for battle. Well, they succeeded. By war's end, in April of 1865, we were released. They took us on down to Vicksburg, Mississippi. If you all ever heard of that place. They were going to load us up onto the Sultana. It's a big old steamboat. That steamboat was going to take us up the Mississippi to get back home to Kentucky. Back from the war. We all got loaded up onto it, and it was packed. I remember I didn't care much about the cramped space, having to stand. I just wanted to get home. I was tired of it. Tired of it all. They loaded us up by the evening. And there was a word going around that there was about 2,000 men on this steamboat. I was on the top deck, and we started on our journey. Somewhere around the nighttime, I remember. It was a clear sky that night. Stars. God, they're beautiful. I remember I was really calm. Tired as hell. But I didn't care. I just felt a warm breeze come over me. Like everything was going to be all right. Most of the men were sleeping. And all of a sudden, there was a loud explosion. Shook the whole boat. Could have sworn a mortar hit us. Before I knew it, there were bodies in the air, flying into the river. There was fire. There was pandemonium. Before I knew it, I was in the air myself. We were all thrown into the river. Because of our little stint in Andersonville, none of us could really swim. None of us made it out. After I passed on, I got word that the official count was over 2,400 men on Sultana. Over 1,800 of those men perished in the Mississippi or in the fire. My body was never recovered. I never made it home. I died on April 27th, 1865. My family saw fit to erect me a gravestone over there if you'd like to go see. I thank y'all for coming out tonight and hearing my story. Thank you.
As I was strolling over the Cork and Kerry mountains, I met with Captain Farrell and his money he was counting. I first produced me pistol and then produced me rapier to stand and deliver my you are going to savour with your rim-a-da. Back for the daddy-o, back for my daddy-o, there's whiskey and the jar. He counted out his money, it made a pretty penny. I